Hello and welcome to a statistics course. In this video I will show you how you can use Microsoft Excel to create all the tables and charts we used for our first lesson. Before we get started, I want to mention that especially with Microsoft Excel there are several ways to work things out. So if you find other ways to get to the same results, feel free to use them the way you want. So let's get started. First of all, you have to open your file. I do this with a double click on the file. To create a frequency table of the variable genre, I have to define the categories first. These categories are also the upper limits or bins if with an interval scaled variable. In our case, the variable can assume the numbers from 1 to 5, so just enter the first two values 1 and 2, highlight them and use the fill handle to copy the other values down. I would also recommend to use a column including the corresponding labels. Value 1 is associated with comedy, 2 with drama, 3 with action, 4 with animation, and 5 with documentary. In my next column I will calculate the frequencies. To do so, I have to highlight the range of cells that will contain the frequencies. I'd advise you to highlight one more additional cell in case there is a value in the data that doesn't fit your categories. This frequency will be shown in this additional cell. While the range of cells is still highlighted, I tap equals, choose frequency and tab over. Now the syntax here is to do data array first, so I have to select the original data. I click in the first cell of the variable genre, press Ctrl and Shift simultaneously, and then I press the down button as well. This will highlight every value in this column. To follow the syntax, I have to enter comma, and now I have to select the bins array. Finally, and this is really very important, I do not only press enter, but I press Ctrl and Shift simultaneously again. So while I'm pressing Ctrl and Shift, I press enter as well. And so I will get my frequency distribution. Next, I want to create a bar chart of my frequency table. Therefore, I have to highlight the frequencies as well as the corresponding labels. Now I click on Insert and choose the icon for creating a bar chart. This will easily insert a bar chart into my file. If I would like to change the label, I can do this by changing the corresponding cell. As you can see here, the changes I make in the table will also be transferred to my graph. To change the properties of the chart, I click in the chart and then at the plus symbol on the right. Here, for example, I can add titles to the axis. I can give them the names genre and frequency. If I would like to display the corresponding values in my chart, I have to do a right click on a bar and now I can choose Add Data Labels. These were only some examples of how you can change the properties of your chart. There are many more possibilities to adapt the chart the way you want. Now let's create the cumulative frequency distribution of the variable customer rating. To do so, I will have to create a frequency table for this variable as well. So first, I will enter the categories. There were 8 categories. To make a column for the corresponding labels is not necessary in this case, as the numbers represent the labels as well. Then I highlight the cells for the frequencies with one additional cell. Enter equals, frequency and tab over. Select the original data, remember to press Ctrl and Shift and the down button. Enter comma and select the bins. Again, don't forget to press Ctrl and Shift while pressing enter. Next I will calculate the cumulative frequencies. The first value will be the same than the absolute reference. So I just click in the cell, enter equals and select the cell on the left. The next value will be the sum of the frequency before and the frequency to the left. So I enter equals select the cell on the left, plus, and then the cell above. The following values will be calculated the same way, so I just autofill the other values using the fill handle. If I want to graph these values, I will do it the same way like before. So I highlight the cumulative frequencies, click on Insert, and choose the bar chart icon. Again, I can change the properties of this chart as well. For example, I can add titles to the axis and give them the names custom rating and cumulative frequency. To create the relative cumulative frequency distribution, I have to divide every value by the sample size. So I click in the cell, enter equals, select the value on the left and divide it by the sample size. In our case, sample size is 197. This value can be seen on the last cell of our cumulative frequency distribution. So I select this value and mark this cell as an absolute reference. To do so, I click into the edit line just in front of the corresponding cell and press F4. These dollar signs indicate the absolute reference. Use the autofill handle again to copy the other values down. Now I want Excel to show these values as percentages, so I just click on the percent sign. Next, I want to calculate some measurements of central tendency and dispersion of the variable budget. These are the mean, the median, the mode, the minimum, the maximum, quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. Let's start calculating the mean. I just click in the cell and enter equals average. Tap the function of the average, select the original data and press enter. Don't forget to press Ctrl and Shift as well as the down button to select the cell in the column. To calculate the median, I use the function median. The procedure is the same with calculating mean. To calculate the mode, I use the function mode. This is very easy. Select the data and press enter. The corresponding function for calculating the minimum is min. So I just enter min, tab over and select the data. For the maximum, I use the function max. Select the data and press enter. I will get the first quartile by entering the function quartile.exe. That's the first function Excel automatically suggests. Select the data, enter comma, and 1, as this should be the first quartile. Once again, I make an absolute reference by pressing F4. And since I have an absolute reference for the data array, I'm just gonna autofill this down now. To calculate the second and the third quartile, I just have to change the last value in my formula to 2 and 3. The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. So enter equals, select the third quartile, minus the first quartile. Before we graph a box plot, I would also like to figure out the standard deviation of the variable budget. I just enter equals and the first letters of standard. Choose the corresponding function standard deviation, set the data, and I'm done. To make the numbers more readable now, I can change the properties of the cell. I right-click, choose Format Cells, click on Number, and then I select the 1000 separate icon. Moreover, I want to reduce the number of decimals that will be shown, so I click on the symbol in the number category. So its numbers are more readable now. Finally, I want to create a box plot. To do so, I have to highlight the corresponding cells, click on Insert, then on the right side, the small icon next to the charts. Then I click on All Charts and select the box plot. Okay. Here we are. Like with other charts, I can easily change the properties of the chart. For example, I can add the data labels by right-clicking in the chart. Here we are. I hope you found this video and using Microsoft Excel useful. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.